Hey there, awesome folks. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. I do apologize for the noise in the background. The air is on particularly loud today. I'm not sure why it's so loud, but hey, we have to work within the confines of what we have. I want to share with you, want to go over this article that I came across that pretty much rubs me the wrong way personally, but more on a professional level, that the leader in this particular case made the wrong decision. Let's just put it this way: customers may always be right, but that doesn't mean you kowtow and bow to their every will. Because if they asked you to kill a person, you're not going to commit a crime to do it. So, with that perspective in mind, let's jump into the article, guys. All right. The article here says the customers, as this article is from littlethings.com, and it was written last Wednesday, but I absolutely needed to touch on this. It was written by Sarah Brigel, and it says customer at Olive Garden asks for server who isn't black, and the manager complies. So let's jump into this. First of all, the title alone is cause for, of outrage, but let's continue. A racist incident took place at Olive Garden in Evansville, Indiana, on a busy Saturday dinner rush. First of all, it's a dinner rush, so that means there's a lot of people in the restaurant, a lot of people to serve. A woman who was having dinner at the restaurant chain reportedly made racist comments to the black hostess who was on duty. She also asked for a server who wasn't black. First of all, that's rude and out of order, and you don't need, if that's the case, cook at your house and stay home and do not ask those kind of questions, because that is not something that anybody should adhere to. Amira Donahue, a 16-year-old hostess who was working at the time of the incident, talked to NBC News about the unsettling incident, obviously. She made comments about me and my coworkers concerning my race and saying that I should work at a strip club instead. Oh, she's downright out of order and rude, she said on Wednesday. She asked if I'm even black and if I'm here, if I am from here. Wow. Okay. Amira said to the customer, who was with a handful of other people, including 2 children, was seated at the table that had a black server. The customer became more and more agitated, then seemed to be enraged, asking loudly for a server who wasn't black. The manager then obliged the racist request. The manager, of course, thankfully, has since been fired from Olive Garden. I'm very, very grateful that they were fired. But first, let's take a listen to the video here that on coverage of what happened.
Is looking into allegations of a racial incident at its restaurant in Evansville.
Well, many people took to social media over the weekend to respond to what may have happened at the Olive Garden out on the east side on Green River Road. The hostess, who says she was involved in that incident, is speaking out.
Eyewitness News' Noah Alatza joins us now with the latest on this. Noah.
That's right, Shelley and Brad. The NAACP, along with the Evansville Olive Garden, both say they are continuing to investigate after that alleged incident in which a white server did ask for a white server at that restaurant on Saturday. And we spoke with one of those people involved who says she's angry and wants something to change.
In front of all the customers.
2 black employees claim they were targeted with racial discrimination. Amira Donahue was the hostess on duty as the incident unfolded. She says a customer's request for hot water turned into something ugly.
But she asked for a server that wasn't black, and the manager complied. And I do agree that that was a bad decision at the moment, but there was a better way that could have been handled.
Donahue says the woman's actions didn't stop there.
And the lady also made comments about me to my other coworkers, saying that I'm not family friendly, that I should go work at a strip club instead of an Olive Garden, that am I even black, like am I from here, am I from America, just like offhand comments like that, and referring me to like the other one.
An Olive Garden spokesman says the company does not tolerate discrimination of any type and that senior leadership is investigating. The Evansville NAACP says it has not received a formal complaint, but it is also investigating. Reverend Gerald Arnold says he is withholding judgment, and he wants to make sure everyone's voices are being heard.
It's probably not going to be the culture because they have a very diverse staff, a very diverse clientele. I go there myself. Okay. And so we have to investigate all those things.
As for Donahue, she says she's still reeling from the pain and shocked at the events of that Saturday night dinner rush, but hopeful that a positive change will come from this experience.
I would never expect it to be just so apparent in public. And it was just like, it's 2020, not 1920. We should be over this. Something should have been done. And I feel like it should take more than just social media to get a problem like this out there.
And tonight, we're told the server involved in that incident isn't emotionally ready for an interview. Now, as for that investigation, Olive Garden does say it will continue to look into the matter.
Any idea what the timeline is on this?
Unclear on the timeline, could take anywhere from weeks to a month, but we're not sure of that just yet. We'll continue to keep our eye on it.
All right. Noah, thank you so much.
All right, guys. So I'm very glad that Olive Garden is doing their investigation, but I hope it's not going to take forever. Of course, as we continue to read the article here, the event was obviously very distracting and upsetting to a lot of people who were trying to enjoy their meal at the time. The woman was making a rather big scene and offending the hardworking employees. One patron was so unsettled by the incident that he went home and wrote about it on social media to air his frustrations. Maxwell, 22, was a customer who witnessed the entire ordeal. He told NBC News he was disturbed by what transpired. In a Facebook post, he documented what happened. He also says that he made several phone calls at Olive Garden's restaurant to complain about what happened. This is the young lady that experienced the racial comments and the racially abusive behavior from that customer or from that table. So Maxwell's post got a ton of attention on social media, and people were clearly outraged that something like this could happen in 2020. Shocking that the customer could act in this way in the first place and not get kicked out. That's my first red flag. Wait a minute. It's even more shocking that such a racist request would be granted. In a scathing post, Maxwell wrote, "I'm never going back to Olive Garden in Evansville. A few white people come in and say that they refuse service from a colored server and ask to speak with the manager. The manager, without hesitation, ensures that they will not receive service from a person of color. That manager needs to be fired." He continues that the couple should have been refused service for even asking for something like that. Exactly. It's disgusting that Olive Garden's manager would allow that, especially with a very diverse staff. The post definitely struck a chord, and it's since been shared thousands of times. This is the post here where it says @final_boss_X had made the comment. And of course, it says here, Mr. Shomari Stone, who looks like they work for Olive Garden, says, Olive Garden's customer loudly demanded a non-black server. The manager complied. We made a decision to separate with the manager involved. Very good. Thank you, Olive Garden. Olive Garden spokesperson said of the incident in an Indiana location. That is beautiful. I'm glad they did the right thing there. As for the hostess, she was apparently so upset by the woman's outburst that she started crying. Maxwell said he witnessed this. The young lady was in tears and had no one to support her. Maxwell said Wednesday. So I felt if I didn't write this post, nothing would have happened, and she would continue to go to work for a place that feels uncomfortable feels that she feels uncomfortable at and unwanted at. So I'm very glad to say in this stage, exactly, somebody else tweeted, as you guys can see here, Olive Garden customer loudly demanded the non-black server and the manager complied, of course. And it says, in this day and age, that is totally disgusting. Not that there is still racially ignorant people out there, but that there are racially ignorant businesses out there. What is this, 1940 Alabama, for God's sakes? No more Olive Garden for me. Bye-bye racist pigs. So, of course, Olive Garden is going to get a little bit of backlash because that person that represents them, the manager, made complied with that request. Luckily, the story didn't end there, and Megan Bernstein, a spokesperson for Olive Garden, luckily the story didn't end there. Megan Bernstein is a spokesperson for Olive Garden. She said Wednesday that the restaurant chain has zero tolerance for discrimination of any kind. Megan said that the company completed an investigation, and as a result of our investigation, we made the decision to separate with the manager involved, she said. Very good. Great decision. Firing the manager was definitely the right decision. I think so too. These employees shouldn't have to feel like customers' racist request is more important than their comfort level going to work. Even more so, they should not feel, let me just interject here for a second. They should not even feel that employment law should be broken because they're adhering to some racist request. It's despicable that the manager couldn't understand how important it was to stand up for the employee for the very people who make the restaurant run. They should have kindly asked those customers to leave the restaurant because clearly they're not built to handle regular human beings serving them. Maxwell updated his Facebook post to reflect the manager's firing. Update: the manager in question has been terminated. It seems like Olive Garden made a massive effort to ensure that this will not happen again. Beautiful. And one of the girls I have spoken to seems to be in good spirits with the company. Okay, that's wonderful. Of course, Huck with me made the comment earlier. It said his post, we got done what needed to be done, and it shows that we will not stand for any racism around here. I love all of y'all, and I just want to say she is the sweetest host I've ever met at any restaurant. I'm glad Olive Garden took care of her. I haven't heard much about the server, unfortunately. I hope she's doing better. And of course, in the news poll, a lot of these articles come with, do you think the customer who requested a new server should have been kicked out of the restaurant? Let me come back on the screen here. Absolutely, positively, they should have been asked to leave. Guys, I want to make sure you know that from an employee standpoint or from an employer standpoint, yes, the customer may, in some cases, may always be right, but they're not right for creating a discriminatory and a hostile work environment, and an employer should not uphold that. So, number one, that manager made the wrong decision. You should not have put your employees in apparent psychological danger or apparent psychological, leave them open to psychological damage because you have an ignorant customer that doesn't know their head from their foot, because another human is serving them, and because they have a different skin color, you want to go ahead and continue to spread your ignorance all over the place. Go somewhere else with that. If you want only non-Black people serving you, stay at home and cook. You can keep all of them there. So if that's the case, you don't need to be in public, period, because your ignorance is not welcome anymore. The problem is that manager actually adhered to that level of ignorance and that level of racism. Nobody should have to work in a hostile work environment. This is definitely an example of making the wrong decision, and you end up being the person, because you could have prevented that by asking those customers to leave. They don't deserve to be in any restaurant if that's the case. And there may be people that don't agree with me, but coming from an HR standpoint, we cannot put people in a position where they're in a hostile work environment because some ignorant dummy decides to come into your restaurant and act a plumb fool. Because apparently, based on some of the other eyewitnesses and some of the tweets that was in that article, they were making a pretty big stink about having a non-Black person serve them at the restaurant. They're in the middle of a dinner rush. Nobody has to cater to your foolishness. You need to go find somewhere else to go, or better yet, stay home. If those are the requests you want, or those are the requests you have, definitely stay home. Guys, if you've ever been in any situation like this and you have questions on how to work through it or what to do, you can definitely go to mentorshelley.com/contact. I'm more than happy to help you work through this situation from an HR standpoint. If you're working for a company that tolerates this foolishness, thankfully Olive Garden was not a company that tolerated it and they nipped the problem in the butt. I think the best decision they could have made was fire that manager that actually complied with upholding a hostile working environment for their employees and all the other customers that complained about the situation. Now, if you're working for an organization and you're in a hostile working environment and you definitely need help with getting another job or getting a resume updated or having a career plan to exit stage left from this type of employer or from an employer that will uphold this type of behavior, then you can go to mentorshelley.com/consultations, where we'll help you to either get your resume together, get your career plan together, or get you ready for interviews, because I do have interview coaching available there as well. Guys, of course, as you know, there are some changes to YouTube, but I want you to be aware that we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're close to 400 now, but I want to make sure that you guys know that I want to share as much with you to empower you as individuals to get your career in gear and take control of your career. Don't let employers control your career. You control your career. So you make the decisions to get further in your career, to earn more, but also to put yourself in a better position to lead and to make sure that your career is going in the direction that you want it to go. So, of course, all of that information, whether it be in salary negotiation, interviewing, career mapping, job search, all of those things are going to be included on this channel. And also, I also speak from an HR consulting perspective and also coach companies that find themselves in this kind of wahala, how to maneuver out of it and how to maneuver out of it without breaking any of the employment laws. I am very pleased to know that Olive Garden corporate took care of the situation in the correct way, which is to get rid of a manager that would uphold a hostile work environment, among other things. And of course, guys, if you have questions, you can always, of course, either leave a comment below in the chat, or you can, of course, go to mentorshelley.com/contact. You can leave me a voicemail or an email message, and I'm more than happy to return your voicemail or email within 24 hours. Guys, nobody, and I mean nobody, should have to adhere to this type of work environment. And if you are an employer that may be experiencing anything remotely like this and you're definitely looking for consultation help, you can go to mentorshelley.com/HRcons. I am happy to help you either on a project basis or on a continuous basis. I do have service packages available, as well as one-on-one consultation for employers if you are experiencing anything like this and you're not sure what direction to take. Of course, in this situation, Olive Garden made the right decisions. Yours may not be so cut and dry. So I want to make sure that you guys know that this is available as well. All right, guys, of course, if you like the video, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and like the video, share it with maybe another person that may be experiencing this. And if you have questions, go ahead and leave me a question at mentorshelley.com/contact. Just want to make sure you know I'm here to help you professionally, whether you are running a company or you're working for one. Want to make sure you have what you need to become a better version of yourself professionally, or if you're running a company, you have all the tools you need to become a better company. All right, guys, take care. You have a good one. Bye.